All right, over the years, stricter border and immigration policies under the Trump administration have dented the flow of migrants coming in and working in the United States, most notably in agriculture. But now, according to the New York Times, farm owners are pushing to bring in foreign workers under H-2A visas after years of them complaining about the legalization of undocumented farm workers and stating that the process was simply too expensive. But there's one problem. That immigration program has been widely known to exploit farm workers as they try to keep the nation's food supply afloat. Joining me now is Philip Martin, Agriculture and Resource Economics Professor at the University of California, and Andrew Walchuk, Senior Policy and Counsel and Director of Government Relations at Farm Worker Justice. So happy to have you both here. Sadly, we are running way heavy, and we have a very short amount of time. I want to start with you, Philip. A New York Times article described the life of America's 2.5 million farm workers, and essentially, it sounds terrible. And basically, they're saying, picture yourself waking up in a decrepit single-wide trailer packed with a dozen strangers. You're riding to and from fields in the hot, repurposed school bus. And when the workday is done, you're waiting for your turn to shower and cook before you lay your head down to sleep. What is the life like of a farm worker, and what is the impact on the rest of us when the numbers of migration go down who provide farm workers, quite frankly?
Well, good morning. And what we have is, we have 2.5 million farm workers, and they include about 10% H-2A workers who almost all come from Mexico and who are young men, typically in their early 30s, late 20s. So the United States has a largely unauthorized, aging, and settled workforce from Mexico, people who arrived in the 1990s before 2008, 2009, and a young H-2A workforce. The issue is that we have 10,000 unique employers who apply for H-2A workers each year. We need to have something like a TSA pre-check system so that those bad employers out there can somehow be detected before they bring in H-2A workers. Under the current system, we assume everybody's honest, and then we try to figure out which are the bad employers. That doesn't work very well because H-2A workers don't complain. They're earning 10 times more than would at home. So that's what we need. We need a better way of looking at a risky system. And I think the best way is to do an ABC rating system of employers and try to find the bad ones before workers.
Because the investigation found that the H-2A visa does lead oftentimes to exploiting these workers. So we don't know that that's necessarily the way to go. I want to ask you, Andrew, talk to me about technology. Because in the New York Times article, they point out that technology has been used, experiment with automation wherever farmers are experimenting with automation wherever they can. Could that potentially replace farm workers? And if so, what's the impact on the 2.5 million people here who are very hardworking folks? And what's the impact on our food system?
Yeah, I mean, people have been looking for solutions to the farm labor shortage for years now, and we have seen certain crops shift to mechanization. But we are seeing, as Philip was pointing out, a shift to other ways of cutting costs. And we see a lot of employers looking to the H-2A program because they do see it as a way to cut costs, have more efficient workers, because it is a captive labor program. In a normal labor market, workers would be able to move to a different job if the wages weren't right or if their working conditions are dangerous or uncomfortable. But in the H-2A visa context, you have a worker that is entirely tied to their employer. And once they stop working for that employer, or if that employer fires them, then they are immediately out of status in the U.S. and they need to return home or they could be deported. And that dynamic, when you have workers who are coming here looking to make a higher wage than they would make in their home countries, many times they've been forced to pay recruitment fees that are illegal or pay breach fees that keep them in their jobs. So they're uncomfortable with complaining about employer that may be violating their rights, raising issues to the authorities. And that means that those workers are incredibly vulnerable to situations like we've seen with these really horrific cases coming out of Georgia, out of Florida, of human trafficking, where workers are just forced to work with really no pay whatsoever. And when you have that captive workforce, it's really appealing to employers to bring in those kinds of workers rather than hiring the workers who are already here in the country, have been working in agriculture for decades, whether unauthorized or authorized.